Wow, that's a tremendous looking trophy.
Welcome to the number one PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. My name's Dylan Blind. Joining me, Ashley Hodley.
Hey Dylan, how are you going today?
I am absolutely fantastic. See what I did there? See
yep, that works.
Fantastic. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. Still early though. Still time for this day to go downhill.
I was about to say, I don't think you've sold the audience at all on that one at all. Why do you give away it's early in the morning? Hold on, you say it's early in the morning, but I guarantee if we said what time we're actually recording this, people would be like, that's not fucking early. All right, so in the trophy cabinet this week, bronze trophy for firmware updates, got to give them some kind of award. Silver trophy, Buddy's back for his hashtag road to 100. A gold trophy for that Heartman footage that was talking about last week. We've seen it now. They put it up. It's online. And a platinum. Going to discuss my Wolfenstein Youngblood impressions. So let's just jump straight into that. I have put, I think, I'd probably say around 6-ish hours. I think maybe somewhere 5 to 6 hours into Wolfenstein Youngblood so far. Very interesting game. I feel like the public perception has been interesting from what I'm seeing for this one. I think seeing everyone react to this game has been my favorite part of its release so far, because you've got the general proper good like criticism about it and how it's a very odd Wolfenstein game, which I'll get to in a second. But then also everyone just being like, this game's SJWs. What are they? All that stuff. That's been like one of my favorite things to see for sure. So for that reason, it is a 10 out of 10. Hashtag copy provided by Bethesda.
Thanks, Bethesda.
All right, now I'll give some actual thoughts. I've been playing it with Mr. Buddy Watson, who will be on later to talk about some trophies and stuff. But it's 100% designed to be played in co-op. You can play it single player. I don't know why and how much fun it would be playing single player. I literally played like maybe 15 minutes by myself, and I was like, well, this is just not very exciting because the AI partner didn't seem very good, and the whole game is basically, it's really weird to describe because it's like a mini Destiny or a mini Division, but also it doesn't have any of the loot and stuff those games have, which makes it really odd. So when the game starts, you're introduced to BJ Blazkowicz, the star of the last two games, and he has these daughters, and then all of a sudden BJ disappears, and the storyline setup is like, hey, you got to go find your father, and the game opens with like this prologue mission that's kind of like a normal Wolfenstein mission on this airship, and you do that, and then all of a sudden you're introduced to like this little hub place after that where you can interact with a bunch of characters and get side missions and restock your ammo and stuff. And then from that you can travel to like three main areas where you can then they're sort of open areas. They're not massive or whatever, but they are open and interconnected areas where you can then run around, do side missions, kill Nazis. There'll be like random events too. You'll get a call like, oh, there's a Nazi commander here, like try and kill them, and you get a bunch of XP. It'll be like, oh, tap this phone line, and they'll give you a bunch of XP. Like random events like that will just pop up and be given to you at any point in time. And then also in the hub space, you can like collect daily missions, weekly missions, monthly missions, all this very like Destiny shit. And then throughout all of it, you're getting XP, you're leveling up your character, you're leveling up your guns, you're collecting gold and other types of currency to either buy skins for your characters, which is where all the fucking microtransactions are, by the way. They're all for skins for guns and skins for your suit and skins for your helmet. So if that's what you want to spend microtransaction money on, whatever. I will say it's not like forcing it down your throat, but it does exist. And then the rest of the stuff is for buying upgrades to your guns, silencers, whatever else, extended ammo pouch, whatever. And then every time you level up, you'll get a couple skill points, and then you can buy upgrades for your character as well. More armor, more HP, the ability to do like ground smash attacks, the ability to like run and smash into enemies, the ability to run while crouching, like all this sort of typical stuff. So it's got like all these fucking RPG shit chucked into it, and it's really quite weird. especially because the previous Wolfenstein games were just straight up, for the most part, first-person shooter. You know, you shoot dudes in the head, they die. This game, they don't, because it's like an RPG. All the enemies have levels. This enemy's level 18, so they're bullet spongy, much like your Destiny or your Division. You got to shoot them a bunch of times. Enemies that have skulls on them are way too high level for you to take on, and they'll probably just fuck you up and kill you. So, as a Wolfenstein game, it doesn't feel anything like a Wolfenstein game. It doesn't. That's the weird thing, because the combat feels good. Wolfenstein's combat is fast, fluid, enjoyable. The shotguns feel fucking great. You shoot Nazis right up in their faces. Their heads explode sometimes. They go everywhere. That's great. I like that. That's lots of fun. But also seeing numbers on enemies' heads and them being bullet spongy, and then seeing like XP pop up when you kill them, all that doesn't feel like Wolfenstein. That all feels weird. The mission structure doesn't feel super Wolfenstein-y, because Wolfenstein games are very story-based. There's only a handful of story-based missions in this. Other than that, you're doing side missions. So I'm not disliking the game. That's the thing. But at the same time, I honestly don't know if I could put I really can't put my solid, and this is why I'm saying this is my impression so far. I'm definitely not going to put a nail in how I feel about this game until I get to the end. Because like, if we get to the end of the story and it's got like some cool tie-in, and you find BJ and there's some cool like tease or setup for the potential proper Wolfenstein 3rd game, that would be like a plus towards how good the game is, or a must play for Wolfenstein game fans, I feel, as well. But then it's also like, okay, by the time I reach the end of the campaign, did it feel like a fucking complete drag by the end of the end? Because as it is, there's only a couple main story-based missions. And you're like, well, okay, why can't you just rush through the game and do the story-based missions? Well, you can't, because they, of course, say like recommended level 20, recommended level, like level 25. And you need to go do the side missions to get the XP, to be able to do the main missions, or else you'll just fucking die. So that's why you have to spend a bunch of time doing side missions and whatever else. It's odd. I don't know why they made the game like this way. I remember all the trailers, and when they first announced it, I 100% thought this was just going to be a shorter Wolfenstein game that is just in co-op. That's what all the trailers made it look like. That's what I think everyone in the world probably thought this was going to be. And then it releases, and it's like a mini fucking Destiny Division type game. I don't know if anyone knew this until it released. It's really weird.
It's an odd one. Definitely an odd one. Why would they switch up the formula so much for just a small release? Unless they're like testing the waters, I guess, is the only thing. But
I fucking hope not. It's
a backdoor pilot. That's what it is.
Because the thing that makes it not work so much is that they want you to do these daily missions, weekly missions, replay missions you've already done for like gold and XP and so on and so forth. But that's all you're doing it for. Whereas in a Destiny or a Division or whatever, those types of games, you're constantly getting loot, be it armor, guns, accessories. You know what I mean? So the hook to those games is to get the loot at the end of it and try and get legendary items and what have you. This game doesn't have that at all. So it doesn't have the hook to make you want to replay and do anything at all. I'll say for what level of story there is, which so far there's a heap of story at the front. It's very front-ended. There's a heap of cutscenes and stuff like that to set up the game and the characters. And then there's pretty much fuck all between the main couple story missions after that. I'll say, though, from what we are getting, I do like the two characters of the girls. They're like, I feel like you could either love them or hate them because they're written like, because it's set in the 80s. So they're constantly like, yeah, dude, fuck it. Like they're saying like very 80s shit. Like very stereotypically, which I suppose some people might be like, that's a bit try hard, or it's, you know, it comes off very odd. There's even like parts when I was playing last night where I was doing the first, like, they call it raid mission, to raid there's 3 brothers you've got to kill in the game. They're the main story missions. And every time you'd go into an elevator, this very 80s music's playing, and the 2 girls would just like start dancing around with one another and like all this sort of stuff. So they're like colorful characters, at least. I'm enjoying them. I kind of just wish, because I'm enjoying them, that it was just a straight up co-op story-based shooter where I would get to see more of their personality and stuff, not just running around doing these side missions where they don't really interact too much and whatever else. But it is fucking odd. It's probably one of the oddest releases of the year, I feel. It will be one of the oddest releases. And I just feel like, let's make a Wolfenstein game, a story-based Wolfenstein game like the other ones, but we'll make it co-op and it'll be a bit shorter and we'll sell it for like half the price. That there should have been a winning formula. It's kind of like what they did with because they already did Wolfenstein, I can't remember what it's called, the Old Blood, right? Yeah, I think that was it. Which was it's like a prequel to the first Wolfenstein game, and that was released after that game, and it was like half the price, and it was a downloadable title. I was like, okay, well they can do a shorter Wolfenstein experience, and that ticked all the boxes, and people were like, this is great, do more of these in between Wolfenstein releases. And they were like, yeah, that's cool. How about a co-op game? People were like, yeah, that sounds great. Or how about a co-op game that's like Destiny? No.
Like Destiny, but we take out the major thing that everybody likes about Destiny.
Yeah, exactly. So I will have more thoughts, obviously, in the future. And if you stay tuned to explosionnetwork.com, I will have a review up whenever I feel I'm done. Because at the moment, I'm so just like, I am enjoying playing it, but at the same time, I'm like, why does this exist?
Or is that only because you're playing with Buddy, though?
Yeah, but at the same time, I honestly feel like I can straight up say now, if you're playing this game by yourself, you're going to, and if you was going to score it or whatever and review it, you're going to give it a way lower score than if you're playing in co-op. It is 100% designed to be played in co-op. They even will let you join random people's games. They encourage you to just jump into someone else's game and at least play with someone. So if you're playing with the AI partner, it's just going to feel weird and empty and dull. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting model, but I guess that explains why they have the
buddy pass.
Buddy TM pass, yeah.
Yeah, the buddy TM pass, so you can at least get a friend in there. Yeah, they 100% encourage you. Go play with real people. I think they knew they had something of a weird game on their hands, considering they didn't. I feel like they didn't put too much promotion into it.
No, they announced it, I think, like last year, at last E3.
E3, yeah,
at least.
Yeah,
and then they showed it at E3, and then I've seen jack all promotion other than, hey, we're selling it this date. So
Yep. The day of release, the Twitter was posting up a few trailers and stuff. I'm like, where were these the last couple of weeks to try and like amp up potential interest in it, or anything? Just explain what the fuck this game actually was. Which I feel like no one actually understood what this game was until it released, and then people were like, "What? Like, what do you? What do you mean this is?" Yeah. So what? Interesting. Yeah. ExplosionNetwork.com. Find my review. EA Access has launched on PS4 finally. I was looking at it last night. You can download the hub thing, I guess is what it's called. And that lets you have a look at stuff, but then you still have to like obviously buy the subscription, and there's a, was it 1 month one or a year one, I think it was, or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. So 1 month is $6.95, 12 months is $39.95.
Yeah. So not going to break the wallet, but at the same time, it's 100% going to depend on how many EA games you want to play in this sort of thing. We do have the full list of games that are available, though. So, and there's a fair few, but I can quickly power chuck through this. Battlefield 5, Anthem, FIFA 19, NHL 19, NBA Live 19, Madden 19, Unravel 2, A Way Out, Burnout Paradise Remastered, Fear, The Sims 4 console, Mass Effect Andromeda, Titanfall 2, UFC 3, Battlefront 2, Need for Speed Payback, FIFA 18, NBA Live 18, NHL 18, NFL 18, Battlefield 1, NHL 17, Madden 17, FIFA 17, Mirror's Edge Colors, EA Sports UFC 2, Garden Warfare 2, Unravel, Battlefront 1, Need for Speed, NBA Live 16, FIFA 16, NHL 16, NFL 16, PGA Tour, Battlefield Hardline, NBA Live 15, Dragon Age Inquisition, FIFA 15, NBA, NFL 15, UFC, the first one, EA Sports UFC, First Garden Warfare, Peggle 2, Need for Speed Rifles, Battlefield 4, and NFL 25.
Yep.
Do you have any interest in signing up for a EA Access subscription?
Not overly. Nothing really stands out on that list. I think the interesting thing will be how quickly the sports games for the new iteration get added on to the service. I think that will change a lot of perceptions on whether they want to play it or not. I guess if you just want to play for a night, you can just buy the thing for $6.95. You can play FIFA for a month with your friends or whatever. But
I'm pretty sure, 99% sure that they've said that like FIFA and stuff so far, they drop day and date.
If that's the case, then possibly sign up rather than buy a $80, $90 version of the game and then we play it for like a year and then have to trade in.
Yeah.
I guess $30 is a pretty good investment, but
yeah,
I would be highly surprised if it is day and date. Well, that's not true. They do make most of their money from Ultimate Teams and that sort of thing. So
yeah,
if it's just a matter of getting you in the door, then that makes sense.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't they make all their money from fucking people buying?
Yeah. Well, they make a lot.
Yeah, aren't they booster packs for players or whatever the hell it is?
Yeah, all the Ultimate Team stuff is huge.
Okay, yeah. Because I know sometimes I scroll through YouTube and I'll see people making videos just opening them or whatever, like whatever they're doing there. So I'm like, okay, cool story. I'm pretty sure that's what it is though. I just tried a quick Google then and I couldn't see anything, but I'm pretty sure that's what I've read. But yeah, like he was just saying before as well though, it's like if I was like, oh yeah, I really want to play, I don't know, something random. Say you got like friends and they're like, oh, let's play Battlefront. You're like, oh, I don't own Battlefront anymore. And it's like $18 to buy it or something, probably pre-owned or whatever, or just pay $7 for a 1 month subscription and play it that way. So in cases like that, it's probably going to work out just good to do it like this. So there's other things like I haven't played Mirror's Edge Catalyst yet, and I keep every time it comes up on sale, I'm like, yeah, maybe never do it, but buy this for a month, play the game. Do I need to do? Get rid of it then. And then I feel like if the next Battlefield or whatever, like a big title like that from EA, if that's day and date as well or something like that, then yeah, that'd be pretty good. But at least we've got it on PS4 now, so everyone has access to it.
But there still is a huge catalogue of games that are not available. Obviously, we talked about this before, and obviously that backwards compatibility thing is an issue. Yeah. So,
yeah,
what are you going to do?
I don't think that's going to get fixed. So
probably not. They're talking about maybe on PS5, but I still don't know how you're going to put PS3 games on because I don't think it'd be backwards compatible with those.
No.
We'll see.
All right. So last week. Talked about this Heartman, Death Stranding Heartman footage video thing that Kojima showed at Comic-Con. They since put up the video online called Death Stranding Heartman Character Spotlight Trailer. It is as weird as it fucking sounded. I mean, I love it, but at the same time, it's so Kojima. 100% so Kojima to see this thing. So in case you haven't watched it, you basically have Norman Reedus' character sitting in this room, and then the Heartman character, which is, what would you call it? The body is Nicholas Winding Refn, but it's voiced by someone else. So
modeled on Nicholas Winding Refn.
Yeah, modeled on, thank you. Modeled on him. He like awakes from this bed and he walks around the room explaining how he dies every 21 minutes, and then he walks around the room and he's like, "Hey, do you like music? Do you like movies? Look at my huge look at my huge catalog collection of movies I've got over here. An actual physical collection I have over here." And of course, he holds one up and it like shows the details of it. And I'm sure in the game you could probably go over there and there'll be like fucking movies to collect, and Kojima will just put in all the movies and stuff he likes and musics and CDs. CDs are probably going to be fucking collectibles, and you'll find CDs that Kojima likes.
Vinyl records, I think you're talking about.
Oh, sorry, vinyl records. Yeah, so
it's a record player.
By
Which
the way,
is even more Kojima, but yeah.
Buddy messaged me the other week and told us off because, and I just want to put it on the record now. Every time I say records, which is the incorrect pluralization of it, I'm saying it 100% because about this time a year ago, he told me off for saying records, as did Dash, I believe.
What's the plural of record then?
Vinyl.
It's just vinyls.
Yeah. Vinyl. I got a collection of vinyl. Yeah.
So where did the record come from?
Well, I say records now.
Oh,
it's incorrect. It's incorrect pluralization, but I'm doing it on purpose.
So they're vinyl record vinyls. Yeah.
Yes. I love to collect my vinyl records. Yeah, so I'm going to collect my my records, records collection throughout the game. What do you think of this, though, this Heartman character spotlight thing?
I mean, it looks fine. It looks pretty. I mean, it's an interesting concept, I guess. He brings up some interesting questions, like how would you deal with sleeping and intercourse? But yeah, I mean, it
intercourse
fits
ain't
in
a
with...
problem. Come on.
Yeah.
20 minutes is more than enough. Easy joke. Easy joke.
Yeah, easy joke. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's very Kojima. It's acted pretty solidly, except Norman Reedus' character just sits there, listen monologue for 2 minutes. But
yeah,
it still explains absolutely nothing in Death Stranding.
Yep.
Other than the Death Stranding. Death Stranding is an event that happens in Death Stranding that has affected everything. And there's a before the Death Stranding, and there is an after the Death Stranding.
Yep. And when he dies, he apparently goes
to the beach.
Goes to the beach, yeah, and looks for his family or whatever. So
yeah.
Yep. Makes perfect sense. So now I do want to double check, because we're still going to do the hashtag Heartman challenge in the coming weeks, obviously, maybe next week. I didn't want to do it the same week we talked about this video. Do you want to do it the way I pitched it originally, or would you rather, because we can make a changing ruling now that I've officially seen the video, we could say hashtag Heartman challenge. You have to pick like several, like an episode of a TV show or something. But you can't just be like all of Seinfeld or whatever, You know what I mean? Do you want to do it the way I originally pitched, which is you have to pick?
Yeah, sure. Let's just go with the original thought.
Okay, so go with the original
break
thing.
Break up a bunch of things in 21 minutes.
Yeah, because that was like a more...
Because otherwise it's just boring. It's like, my Heartman challenge, I'm going to watch one episode of Scrubs.
Yeah, that's why I didn't like it in the first place, because I'm like, well, then it's just like that. What would you bring to a dessert night? Because then you're just picking like your favorite TV shows or that you could watch in under 20 minutes, basically.
Any
like,
sitcom.
Any sitcom, basically, yeah. So Heartman challenge will remain at having to cut together several favorite bits of music, movie scenes, and TV shows. Hashtag Heartman challenge coming soon to PlatinumExplosion.com. That's not the website. It's ExplosionNetwork.com, but Platinum Explosion's the show that's on the thing.
Hashtag Heartman challenge, yeah.
Hashtag Heartman challenge. So, firmware update for PlayStation's coming. This isn't super exciting, but like it's. I feel like it's worth mentioning because A, PlayStation show, and also B, sometimes they sneak in stuff that they don't like make aware of in the beta invites that they send out and stuff. I highly doubt that's going to come, and maybe to some people this stuff matters more. Doesn't really matter to me. So, story comes from Press Start. It says Sony has started sending out invites for PS4 firmware update 7.0. Each invite allows you to send out invites to 20 friends to also use the firmware. So firmware update 7.0 is going to have the big thing, which I think we briefly talked about before, where the party system will now be allowed to have up to 16 people in it instead of the number of 8. However, as someone who's never even had 8 people in a chat room and can't imagine 8 people in a chat room not being a fucking nightmare,
that sounds like a special hell.
Yeah, that sounds like hell. I cannot imagine anyone having 16 fucking people and not being a special place in Dante's 7 circles of...
Why would you even need 16? Is there any 16 squad games or...
I don't know. No, is there?
No, because like raids or whatever, they're like max out at 8.
Yeah. So I guess it's just for people who just want to play different games and old chat or something. I don't know. It's very odd. I don't know. I mean, there must be a fucking audience though, right? I don't.
It must be requested.
Enough?
Otherwise they wouldn't bother.
Requested enough to ask for this as well, yeah. So, and then the other thing it says you'll be also be able to change the HDR settings right from the PS4 menu, which is something that's been sorely missing since HDR was first introduced 2 years ago. This menu that you'll be able to fine tune HDR settings for the system rather than on a game-to-game basis. So for TV nerds, get excited. Get excited about tuning them HDRs. Gotta make sure HDR settings are right. Get pumped. So that's firmware 7.0. It's nothing super exciting unless something is snuck in later after the date or something like that. Okay, next story. Dying Light 2 is in development for both PS4 and PS5. Techland confirms. I've not played Dying Light. Ash definitely hasn't played Dying Light because it's got scary things in it. But I just find this interesting because it's another tick in the box of the question of how many of these future games are just being developed for both platforms at this point. So Push Square says, and there's another PlayStation 5 games to add to the list. We imagine many games currently are in development are at least being considered for cross-generation treatment, but Techland has made it clear Dying Light 2 is getting both a PS4 and a PS5 version. Yes, the free-running zombie action game is making the leap across platforms. The developer confirmed as much during an interview with WCC Tech. Directly asked if the sequel is a cross-generation title, Chief Technology Officer Paul Roessler said, quote, Techland always has an eye on the latest new toys. To be more specific, yes, the plan has been since the beginning of production to make Dying Light 2 a cross-generational title. So I don't think there's much to discuss there. I just think it's worth noting when these things come along because I'm keeping a mental check somewhat of all of these games that either are rumored to be cross-generational titles or are confirmed to be cross-generational titles, because as everything coming out for like the next 12 months, I'm going to be like, do I just wait? Like, especially as we get closer towards, once we hit next year and we know the PS4 is coming some point. And most of these games are going to be cross-generational, especially for something like Dying Light 2, which I do have a slight interest in playing. I like what I've seen, even though I haven't played the first one. I'm like, oh, this looks pretty fun. Maybe I'd like to jump into this one. Maybe that's something I want to do. But because it's not something I'm super excited for, I'm not going to play day one. And if it releases and I'm like, I'll just wait for the PS5 version, So,
yeah.
And if I start thinking that most games releasing next year are going to be like that, then maybe I'll have to start double checking and being like, do I need to play this now or should I just wait and see if it's going to get released on PS5 later in the year? You know what I'm saying?
It's definitely an interesting one. It's interesting because obviously this game's got a lot of choice mechanics and that sort of thing. So the game that it reminds me of this thing is Shadow of Mordor, the first one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, where that was both released on PS3 and PS4 at the same time. Except it was gutted on the PS3.
Yeah, what? I was about to say, do you remember what was gutted? Because I remember there being a story.
It was like the Nemesis system. The whole Nemesis system was taken out.
The whole fucking Nemesis system?
I believe so, yeah.
Fucking hell. I don't remember if that was a thing. Wow, what was the point of the game existing?
You fight orcs.
What the fuck? Okay.
Yeah. Or it was like heavily cut down. Or it was like scripted, I guess. You don't, obviously your choices don't make as much of an impact as it.
Well,
yeah,
that's the thing with all these things. If all of these games are being designed for current gen hardware, so PS4, right? But then they're also being like, that's where their bar is, but they're also like, and we'll port it over later. That's different to we're designing it for PS5 and we're going to release it on PS4 as well by downgrading this feature, taking away this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I think the former is better than the latter, obviously.
Definitely.
Obviously.
Well, it just sounds like with the from what I've gathered of the PS5 so far, everything's just going to load faster. It's going to be great.
Yeah, load fast. Everywhere. Got no load screens. Got no frame drops, rates.
Hopefully.
In all the technical things and stuff.
It's all technical stuff.
All technical stuff. Okay, so this Best story of the week, everyone. Get fucking excited. Strap onto your pants and hold on to something because we're getting a sequel to the best game ever created by my favorite studio. So Sucker Punch writer reveals the Order 1888 6 sequel. Writes Push Square. Yes, that's it. If I read, okay, I'll read the story. I'll just read the story because I got really excited when I read the headline first for the story, and I was like, yes. Where's this coming from? Confirm it. And then I read the story and I was like, oh, let me down a little bit. But so if we left it at the headline, people could be more excited. But the story says Sucker Punch writer Jordan Lemos, who's currently busy beating away on Japanese samurai open worlder Ghost of Tsushima, revealed a sequel to the Order 1886 on a podcast this week. Given his position within the Worldwide Studios family, Reddit was quickly to pick up the story, prompting the scribe to clarify that he misunderstood a series of stories based on an interview with creative director Rue Werish. Sorry, I'm not even going to try. So, quote from the Gamer Heads podcast. Last I heard, they were actually doing a second one. Is what he said. So I don't know if they were already in development at that point. So they were like, well, let's just keep going and hoping the next one's better or people like it more kind of thing. Given the story has picked up so much steam over the past few hours, Lemos took to Twitter to explain that he has no access to inside information, saying, quote, I know nothing about sequel, he said before presenting the screenshots of several slightly misleading stories on the subject. Entirely surprised, really. There were likable things about PlayStation 4 exclusives lore, but the project clearly invested far too much effort in the wrong areas. So, of course, have to go here. On the podcast, he's saying he heard they were doing a second one, and he's inside one of the, as they say, he's inside one of the worldwide studios. He's in the ecosystem. He's in the PlayStation ecosystem. Yep. You know, he's not a third party developer. He's on the inside. He's working on a exclusive PlayStation game. You'd hear things. You know, they'll talk to other developers. I'm sure, do what they need to do. And he's saying that they heard they were doing a second one, and they were in development, or so he heard.
All right. I will note that on the Gamerheads podcast thing, they've put a note saying, before everyone gets excited, Jordan does not confirm that there is a sequel to the Order 86. He was going off memory from articles he read almost a year ago that there may be a sequel in the works. There is no sequel in the works. Jordan nor anyone at Gamerheads works or has any inside information from Ready at Dawn. I've removed the section from the audio. This was generating a lot of clicks, and articles were written and referencing our podcast to generate clicks to their sites. So,
bummer.
I feel like this is just someone's jumped on this and went, damn. Confirmed. This guy's got connections. It must be true.
Let me put my conspiracy hat on.
Okay.
Do you think that's the case? Or
I do think that's the case.
Or are they trying to cover it up?
I mean, it's fun to think that they are trying to cover up this game that received mediocre reviews at launch by a company that is currently focused pretty much exclusively on VR titles for the Oculus Rift. Seems like it's definitely a thing that is in the works.
I'm hoping it's in the works. I think this. I don't think it's conspiracy theory. I just. I think it's a fun story to think it's a conspiracy story. But yeah, I would choose to believe that this guy doesn't actually know too much.
This guy who works at another company doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't know too much. But I do like. It made me happy to see that this story was blowing up so fast this morning because I like. If there isn't a sequel in full work, like in full motion, maybe they're kicking around ideas. Maybe they are developing something. Who fucking knows? But if they aren't working on something, it made me happy to see how fast this story was blowing up this morning.
Yeah.
Because then they could see that people actually care and want a sequel. You know what I mean?
I feel like this game has gotten way more love after its release than most titles do.
Yeah, I feel like, honestly, the thing with it was that a lot of people who brought it day one and paid $100 or whatever were like felt crap because it's a rather short game and there's little to no replay value, and they felt, I don't know, I guess they felt shafted somewhat. But then over the last couple of years, you've had people picking up for fucking $15-20 playing it and going, wow, this is really good. Because they're in their perspective for whatever they paid, they're like, well, this is really fucking good. Why can't we have a sequel to this? But when it released, it got a lot of criticism about, not being much there other than just a single player campaign. There's literally no replay value outside collectibles, and it's rather short, and there's a lot of cutscenes. But at the same time, Metal Gear Solid whatever gets all these awards, and 80% of that game is cutscenes. Metal Gear Solid 4, I'm pretty sure you don't play the game until like after watching 10 hours of cutscenes. So, oranges and apples and pears. Pears and apples and oranges. Either way, I want a sequel. And I'm happy to see that people want a sequel too because of all the people sharing and talking about this thing to the point that they had to cut the audio from the podcast.
That's the funniest thing. They're like,
that is the funniest thing.
Blowing up so much. Let's just cut the audio from the podcast. That'll get rid of it.
Yeah. The story's already out there. People are already writing articles about it. But we'll just this will make it stop.
Why would you keep it in for publicity, guys?
No, I don't know. That's the weird part. They're like,
no, if one of our podcasts blew up with something.
Yeah, if I can wait, take anything I say out of context, see me go back and edit it out. I'll say that now, and then someone's like,
seems a lot of work. You have to send a thing back to Apple saying we've.
Yeah, exactly. That's way too much work. Don't do that. All right, so my dreams pick for this week is a game I wish to see expanded upon more because I liked what was there, and I think that, well, hold on. To be fair, I feel like this is most dreams games that pick. I'm like, if they added some more or they did some more work, they could have a real thing here. But it's called Definitely a Fashion Show, and it's by RbdJellyFish. So it's RBD Jelly the word and then FISWH. Because reasons, I suppose. Yep. So it opens with like a 5-minute cutscene, I guess is what you'd call it. They've got really weird character models that at first I felt were just lazy, but then I feel was actually done on purpose for comedic effect because of how redonkulous and weird they look. And it's like this woman in a dressing room or whatever, and it keeps coming up with text bubbles and whatever else, saying like, oh, I don't look good enough to do this fashion show or whatever. Like she's apparently getting like real scared about going to do this fashion show. She's worried about the way she looks or whatever. And then all of a sudden this other model, like who looks exactly like a clone or whatever, like bursts in and then tells him it's not about the way you look. It's about the way you pose, and gives you like a big pep talk. And it's all put together rather funny and like this perfect like zoom cut. It's very memey. It's very memey is the way I'd describe the way this whole thing plays out. And then that goes on. And then when you get to the gameplay, the gameplay is actually, and this is the part where I'm like, you could actually expand upon this and make it into something, I feel, because I finished it and that's all it is. You do one round of this model posing challenge and that's the game. But I replayed it a couple times because I was like, I can do it. I can get a better score. And I kept wanting to do it. I'm like, well, if there's more challenges to this and more levels and whatever, like, I'm like, there's a good idea here, honestly. So the way it plays is that you have, using the right analog stick, you can control like the legs. So, you make the left leg or right leg like move up, down. Using the left analog stick, you can make the body lean to the left or right, and then using R1, L1, R2, all those buttons, you can make the arms and legs either go up or down. So R1 would make the right arm, they control the arm, sorry. So the right R1 would make your right arm go up, R2 would make it go down, L1 makes your left arm go up, L2 makes it go down. So using a combination of all those, you have like big control of lots of different parts of your body. And then all it is you'll see like a layout of like a position you need to take, and then you need to quickly get into it. But of course, when you have left analog stick, right analog stick, and then all the bumper buttons into account, sometimes your brain does that thing where it just kind of explodes, and you're like trying to do something really fast, and you're like, all you have to do is press L1, but you're like, fuck, what do I do? Because it's like use the left analog stick, lean over, and then with the right analog stick, press that to the right, so your foot's going up that way, and then like L1 on the L1 plus R2 to have your two legs go in that direction, and then you've just got to try and do as many poses in certain positions, and that's it. Try and get as many poses as you get done, and that's the game as it is at the moment. However, I found doing the poses rather funny. And as I'm saying, I did it a couple times over because I was enjoying it. I'm like, I could do better. I can get better score than that. I swear I can do it. So I feel like if they wanted to continue it and continue like the weird, odd humor that they have in the opening cutscene to this game, and wanted to add more levels with more cutscenes in between and those sorts of things, I think there could actually be a fun experience here. But as it stands at the moment, it's worth checking out, even though it's only basically one section that you play through. But for what it is, I was enjoying it. I feel like there's a good basis for a gameplay there with the poses and what have you. Yeah, so that is definitely a fashion show by RbdJellyFish.
PSVR for the players.
Now, Ash, do you remember a couple weeks ago? Oh no, it's probably a month ago. We talked about Doctor Who: Edge of Time. Game is coming. It's coming to PSVR. We've got the first gameplay footage has come out of Comic-Con to give us a look at what exactly the game will be and how it's going to play. They published it up on the PlayStation channel. And I'd like to firstly note this. The number one thing that everyone in the comments is pointing out is that for whatever reason, I don't know how this has happened, but the gameplay footage has the cursor, like a mouse cursor, right in the middle of the screen.
Yeah,
entire gameplay.
Somebody messed up. Didn't notice. I don't know how they didn't notice.
I don't know how they didn't notice either. The top comments.
Maybe they were screen capturing a video of a video.
Well, it just makes me wonder, like, is this even the PSVR gameplay, but they're publishing on the PlayStation version? You know, like, it opens up questions. You know what I'm saying? Because it's obviously PC. I don't know. It's really quite odd. Did they really leave the cursor on the gameplay? I love this. I love the feature of the cursor. It will improve gameplay so much. We kiff Miller gameplay. Then someone makes a Starbucks joke, and there's a few other cursor jokes. But the top couple comments are all about the cursor. But other than the cursor, the gameplay basically shows you inside I don't know, like a warehouse, I guess, or something like that, it seems. And you're going around.
Like outside, isn't it?
Is it? Oh, it is actually. It's just so dark to fucking tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It is outside. There's a huge alien ship or whatever it is above. And you're going around and you're basically finding items to build stuff, and the doctor's talking, and Jodie Whittaker, doctor, obviously, and it seems she's gonna do puzzles, and you're trying to solve a way and whatever it is. But you have some sort of free roamish around the area. You've got access to a Sonic. You're building objects. The TARDIS is there. At the end of the level, you go inside the TARDIS. And that's kind of where the demo ends, as you take off to wherever you're going, and the credits kick in, the opening credits kick in, these sorts of things. Yeah, as someone who likes Doctor Who, I'm 100% down to play this. The gameplay didn't exactly blow my socks off, for sure, but at the same time, I don't think it looks particularly cheap made, like as much as I was fearing it would when they originally announced it. I was like, oh yeah, what's this going to be, like a 10-minute, that's kind of what you jump to. You assume maybe it'll be like a 10-15 minute thing, and that may be it. But it seems like this could have a full, like an hour, a couple hour thing maybe potentially behind it. What do you think of it?
I mean, it looks pretty cool. I mean, it looks like pretty basic. You just grab certain things and then put them together and then whatever. But then obviously there was that moment where the ship was going overhead and you hear the Daleks, And even seeing the TARDIS pop up for the first time was pretty cool. But of course, they do that classic thing where they're about to go into the TARDIS and then they look around the TARDIS. So.
Yeah, so big.
You can live out that moment.
Yeah.
It's bigger on the inside.
And like most VR games, obviously, we're watching this video and you're like, oh yeah, but you don't know how cool. And I'm hoping it's a lot cooler when we actually have the headsets on too. Because you watch the video, you see the TARDIS evaporating. No, whatever you want to call it. The TARDIS arrives, comes in and you step inside it. And just watching the video, it doesn't look super exciting. But then you got to hope when you actually have that VR headset on and you see the TARDIS come down and it's appearing before you and then you step inside, it's going to hopefully feel really cool. It's what you want, obviously. It's how you want it to feel. So hard to tell that unless we actually get the VR headsets on. But do you reckon you'll pick this one up or wait until you see consensus on it? Or
yeah, I'll wait and see the consensus. Yeah, it's hard to say with these VR experiences whether they'll be worthwhile, like at full price or not. It's whether there'll be some sort of replayability or it'll just be a single experience that you play through once and that's it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I presume that's kind of what it'll be, but we're gonna have if it's got platinum, I'll
yeah,
collectibles. What do we? Hopefully there'll be some stuff to do. So Doctor Who Edge of Time is out. Doesn't have a full release date yet, but it says it's out next month. So, hold on, I say that like we're already in August because I feel like we're basically in August, but it's out September is when it's coming out. If you're looking forward to that one. Racing to 100 platinums. Buddy is back for his update. We're here for the July Platinum update from Mr. Watson himself. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Would you say it's been a good month off the bat?
I'd say the race was a run and now it is like power walking. And I'm almost on my third strike or second strike, whatever they get. 2000 Olympics, Jane Saville. She's 100 meters away from the stadium. She gets disqualified even though she was so close to gold. That's how I feel. I'm so close to getting the 100 platinums, but I've just slowed down to a crawl and I feel like I'm not going to get there now for some reason.
Well, I mean, you've got 2 in the last month, which has put you up to 93 out of 100.
Yes.
If I was you going to August, I'd feel all right. I'd feel decent. I'd feel decent. I wouldn't feel like it's in. I mean, I'm also the person who went into December for my challenge last year with like 4 or 5 left to go. So
yeah, I feel like I'm going to be in that boat somewhere. I think.
You reckon? You reckon it's just going to slow down for the next couple months?
Possibly. There's some that I hadn't accounted for that I've gotten or can go for now, and there's other ones that I'd kind of accounted for going for that I've kind of given up or let go by the wayside. So
yeah, I've got from memory there's a couple here that we'll go over, games that we went over in the first segment where you're like, yeah, that'll probably be a plat, and now it's like, nah, I don't think that's gonna
that's not happening right now.
One in particular that starts with Bash Bandicoots standing out to me as one that you was like, that's a plat.
No chance. Absolutely zero chance.
All right, so let's get into it. So you've got 7 games here to go over with 2 of them being platinum. That's pretty good numbers, by the way, if you look at it that way. You've played 7 games in the last month. 2 of them you scored plats. The odds are ever in your favor there. So the first one is a Plague Tale, which last time we talked to you were saying you was probably going to wrap up the plat on that very soon. But just to confirm, what would you rate the trophy difficulty on this one, and how long do you reckon it would take? It says it took you like a month, but how about if you was just doing it in a
trophy difficulty wise, I'd probably go maybe a 3, or maybe even a 2. I think with the time wise, I'd go maybe 15 hours, possibly. 10 to 15, depending on and how slow you go and whether you follow a guide or not.
So following a guide, is it simply just finishing the game and get all the collectibles?
Yeah, so you get a gold trophy or a silver trophy for finishing each chapter of the game. Then there's trophies for getting each specific collectible and a number of collectibles. And then there's other like chapter specific ones. So it's not really that difficult at all. But I didn't obviously follow a trophy guide first run through because I didn't want spoilers or anything, and I wanted it to be my playthrough and actually enjoy the story. So, for people that can separate those two things and do the same stuff at the same time, then well done. You'll be able to do it quicker.
Sometimes, because I have the exact same thing, but I've done it with games where the trophy guide I've found specifically says they've purposely written it in a way to not spoil the game. And if a trophy guide says that for collectibles in the outset, like this will not spoil anything, like just read ahead like one at a time, the descriptions are vague enough or whatever. So like sometimes people write like that, but then other times for guides it's like, well, straight after this encounter with this character that you thought was dead, or like after this person dies, like
straight after you've slain the beast.
Yeah, turn left at the well and press circle, squares, X. Yeah. The lowest percentage trophy for this game, from what I can see on PSN profiles, is the 44.69% for finding all the flowers, or also no 44.27% for that one. So finding all the flowers, but that's a pretty low percentage for a trophy. So I'd say it's fairly easy. The platinum itself is 41% of people have it. So
yeah. And I reckon a lot of people would have got that or got close to that without even using a guide. So,
yeah, well, half the trophies it's 16 chapters, it says there, and you get a trophy for every one. So it's like a lot of the trophies are just playing the game. All right, so next thing you got into after that is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. You have a very low trophy percentage of this, 7%, 5 bronze only. Now, you did do what do you call it? Did you call it a review discussion? The thing you did with Dash?
I think it was a review discussion. I can't remember what we called it. I think so.
Yeah, I was like, well, I don't remember what you called it. But yeah, so you liked the game.
Yeah, I liked the game enough. Yeah, absolutely. I just can't see myself going back and probably finishing it. There's probably a lot of stuff in the game to do to get the trophies as well. I think it'd be a big grind to do it. So
it looks like a massive grind looking over this trophy list, like reaching the max levels, completing the demon list, completing the item list, complete the map. There are a bunch of golds and a bunch of a fuck ton of bronzes for look like a lot of miscellaneous shit that would potentially require multiple playthroughs, maybe it seems. I don't really know. It's hard for me to tell someone who hasn't played the game, but Jackie, what would you rate that one if you was guesstimating? What do you reckon it would take to do that one?
I reckon a 6 or a 7. I think it's a massive time investment, and then going through and collecting everything in one hit, and some of them are, I think some of the chests are randomly generated as well. Some of the drops. I can't remember. That may be misinformation, but I think that would be a difficult one. And the fact that I was like, it's an okay game and there's no real, I'm enjoying my time, but there wasn't enough of a hook to keep me going. Yeah. That was the other big problem. Yeah. So tapped out of that one already.
Tapped that one out. Talking about tapping out, potentially. Unless you get a spur of energy. So Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled released over the last month, obviously. Now, I recall last time I was like, yeah, that's you kind of had this. This is definitely a game that I'll be getting the platinum for, and even I was like, I'll probably go for the plat, or at least try my bestest for it. But as soon as it dropped, and as soon as I got a bad look at the trophy descriptions and found out what exactly they meant, and I found out about the time trials, I basically was like, nope, fuck that. Is that how you feel about it? Is it the time trials?
Pretty much. The time trials can take up to 3 to 4 hours per level, and that's very skill dependent because you have to do them multiple times. And the end trophy, and then the other time trophy, I can't remember what it is, for each level, they don't stack either. So if you beat that awesome time to get the the second part of it that was better than the first time, you have to do that again anyway. So the muscle memory for the drifting system, it came back a little bit to the point where I was quite good at it, but not to these godlike levels that I've seen some of the people perform.
No, you basically have to do the course perfectly, which I think is ridiculous.
Too much to ask for, and there's too many tracks because you have to do them on the other tracks as well. So no.
It's weird though, because I'm like, as much as at the moment, if I was to try it, it would seem like such a heavy task. I'd be like, oh, this is impossible. But I know that if I had the time and effort to sit there for 3 to 6 hours or whatever it took to just constantly retry, because as you said, it's like a muscle memory thing, I would get there eventually, because you do it a certain amount of times, eventually you're just going to click for it. But do you want to do, as you're saying, it's like, do you want to spend 3+ hours on every single track just looping it until you get it down pack? That is so much time that's potentially going to be spent on trying to get it down. But so you ended up with 77%, so you're tapping out at a very respectable percentage, I feel.
41 from 48 trophies, so only 7 left. There's a few I could go in there and clean up if I wanted to get that percentage a bit higher, but I'm probably not going to. So I can see Crash Team Racing being used as trade bait for the upcoming August games like Control, or maybe some Nintendo vouchers to finally get Cadence of Hyrule, which is anti-trophy hunting, I guess. Taking away my time as well.
Yeah, you better think about what you're using time on wisely, because if you get to the end of the year and you're only at 99, I'll be like, well, maybe you shouldn't have played Zelda.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so your second platinum for the month was a game I don't really know much about other than what you've briefly already told me. So Refunked, it's 1 platinum, 11 gold, and that is it. It's a puzzle game or something, is it? Do you want to explain what the game is and then like how easy the platinum is?
Yeah, this is actually one of my surprises of the year. I really enjoyed it. Really cathartic experience, something that I had kind of when I played other collectible type games like Snake Pass or something. Pretty cool soundtrack. It's a first-person game and there's no combat at all. It's basically you're on a platform, you touch another platform, it changes color, and you get to this goal, and then more platforms raise out of the sea, and it's basically like parkour. You're wall jumping, and you're unlocking this kind of level across the whole sea, and you can kind of see where you've been already because the platforms have changed color, and you're getting collectibles as well. There are a few speedrun trophies in there. I think finish it in 2 minutes.
Under
4 minutes?
4 minutes. It's 4 minutes, 6 minutes, and 8 minutes.
Yeah, and there's a little repetition in getting that trophy. That is definitely the most difficult trophy, to get it in 4 minutes. There's another trophy as well that you can finish the level with only being a certain
33%,
percentage.
is this it?
33%, yeah. So every time you touch a block, your percentage goes up. So I guess when I first played the game, I didn't even look at the trophy guide. I just ran through the thing, and in my mind, I figured you just had to touch everything to get 100%. I think there might be a trophy in there for that as well. So I was always making sure that I'd touched every single block, raising the whole level, and kind of scoured every place possible. So yeah, 33% wasn't that difficult because you can jump off some of the blocks into the water and kind of swim around certain paths to get, touch less blocks to your next goal, if that makes sense. So yeah, that wasn't too difficult. The speedrun is definitely the most difficult. But in saying that, I got the platinum in 1 hour and 23 minutes. It's not super crazy. You just got to do a few runs and start memorizing, where all the next goals are. Really fun, really awesome game. I loved this game. I think it was only $7 as well at the time. Well, actually, it might have been $5.
Oh, really?
I think it's iOS
and not on sale even? That was full price?
Yeah, that was full price, $4.55.
Is the ending at the same place every time? So you can get to know it, or is it randomized?
No, it's the same course every time.
Okay. So it is just about replaying it until you get it down packed. Okay.
That's right, yeah.
I was about to say, if it was randomized, it would probably make it a lot harder, I guess.
This was a lot of fun. This is really cool. I really enjoyed this game.
Why'd you pick it up anyway? Because just because it was only $5, and you was like, oh, this looks alright.
Well, I saw it, I clicked on it, and then I watched a trailer for it, and I'm like, wow, this is like a first-person parkour game. It's cheap. I had money in my wallet, and then I saw that I had platinum as well. I'm like, I'm going to get this, and I didn't even look up a trophy guide to see how easy or hard it was before I got it. I just played it, and yeah, it's quite good.
Yeah, I never heard of it until you said something either, and I was like, all right, cool. I watched the trailer after you messaged me a couple weeks ago about it. Whenever you got the plat, I was like, no, this trailer looks cool. I'd never heard of this fucking game. I know it's only $5, but I was like, I'm probably not going to play it at the moment. So I chucked it on the old wish list. I'll wait for it to be $3.83 or something ridiculous like that. You know, wait for the bargains. It happens. It'll happen.
It does.
Happen, you know. Yeah, so that was your second platinum for the month, and it's always a really good thing when you find an easy platinum, but also you're surprised you really enjoyed the game as well. That's the ultimate goal in life.
Yeah,
some would say.
Absolutely.
All right, so you got 3 more games here to quickly go over. So what is this 1980X? What is this game?
1980X is this. I guess it's a story. Narrative type game set in the 80s, very cyberpunk, lots of pinks, purples, and synth soundtracks. And basically, it shows the story of, I think she's, I haven't finished the game yet, but you play as like a high schooler who doesn't really
Looks
fit.
like that, I guess.
Yeah, who doesn't really fit in with anywhere or have really this identity until she finds this kind of arcade, and it's like this underground arcade where all these, I guess, people who are trying to find themselves or have similar, I guess, interests or anything come together, kind of the misfits. And then the game is actually you playing different types of games. So the game opens as like a side-scrolling like beat 'em up, something like Double Dragon, and then you get like a side-scroller space shoot 'em up or something, you know, something like that. And what else? There was a kind of like the what is it? Oh, what are those games?
So the 3 you've done is Beating Heart, then Out of the Void, and then the last one you did was The Runaway.
Yeah, The Runaway was good. That was kind of like the Horizon Chase Turbo or whatever it is that we're going to talk about soon. Yeah. That was that type of game.
Old school,
old school
I suppose
driving
like
game.
Just driving game, I guess is what it would be called. Yeah. So I don't know if you've looked at trophies or not, but a bunch of them, I suppose, that would stop it from being an easy platinum, because it looks like it's an easy platinum with, what's it have? It has 1 plat, 9 gold, 5 silver. You're like, cool, this looks great. But it's got some here where it's like, complete this without taking any damage, complete this game without it dying, complete destroy everything, you know, complete the runaway without a single collision. So do you reckon you'll actually try and plat this one, or is it a bit too hard?
I'm not sure. I'm just not sure about the game, whether I'm going to finish it or not. Because I'm enjoying it, but each little individual game, it feels really basic. It's like a jack of all trades, master of none type stuff.
Well, you're halfway. It seems.
I'm halfway. Maybe this will be one of these ones I'll go back to in December. Like, oh shit, I need to have a dig here. But,
yeah, well, looking at trophy lists, I mean, if you don't find any of the actual games that hard, it seems like it would be a pretty easy platinum, as long as you're able to, if you don't mind replaying those games a couple times, to do them without losing a life, I guess. So it just depends on how you feel about it, I guess. But I hadn't heard this one either, but looks interesting enough, I guess.
Yeah, it's got a cool vibe to it. I need to go back to it, I guess, and see what the story was. I felt like it was a bit, not try-hardy, but it's super cliched, obviously.
Trying to be meta, trying to be hipster, trying to be like 80s are cool.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Which sucks because I was so hyped for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did you pick it up? Like looking forward to it?
Yeah.
Based on trailers or something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Talking about Horizon Chase Turbo then. So was this last month's, wasn't it? It was June's, wasn't it?
This month. This month? Yeah, I think it's this month.
Oh, it's the one they replaced Pez, or what? It was the whole Pez or whatever.
Yeah, with Detroit.
Shit. Yeah, with Detroit and all that stuff. Yeah. So this month's PS Plus game, Horizon Chase Turbo. You've jumped into this, done a bunch of races and stuff. So from what I can tell, the trophies basically are all just, the platinum would more or less be finish the game and finish all the races by getting gold on all the tracks. Yeah, is what I can basically tell from what you've played so far. And you've got 19%. Do you reckon that would be too hard or easy, or how are you feeling about it?
I think it's just a time investment. I actually really enjoyed this game. This is a lot of fun. I haven't played the tournament mode yet or the endurance races, so I've only been playing like the main campaign, and that's fun enough, upgrading cars and doing different races and using different cars and different kind of abilities and everything. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of just use this as a turn my podcast on and just play a mindless game that's easy enough to just kind of consume. But it is a lot of fun. The game is really, really fun. So I can see myself doing this by the end of the year.
Especially if you just keep it as a like podcast game. I actually like those. Sometimes when people are like, "Oh, this game's so boring," like I just play it. Like I play it with sound off and listen to music. Whenever I hear someone say something like that on a podcast or something, I'm like, does it have easy trophies? Because like even though anything that's like a huge grind, and people are like, "Oh, it's such a grind to get the platinum for this," but it'd be really easy if it wasn't for that. Sometimes I've had games like those over the years where I just save it. I only play it as a catch up on podcast game. Yeah. And I love having that in my back pocket because sometimes I'll be like, fuck, I've got like a bunch of podcasts I want to catch up with, but I don't want to only listen to the car or whatever. When am I going to do that? But then you're like, oh, but I can play this game and then I multitask. And
the cool thing is that it doesn't feel like this is a grind at all. I think it's going to be a massive time investment, but the fact that I'm really enjoying it is one thing also.
Yeah. That's good. Now I think we've both started Wolfenstein, but I think we'll just save this till make a mental note of to bring this one over to next month's catch up, because although we was looking at the trophy list and I think both of us were like, it could be easy, but we're not sure like how hard some of the collectibles would be and stuff. So I think once we've played a little bit more, we'll definitely be able to decide if, or maybe next month we'll have the platinum. Who knows what could happen?
Guaranteed not.
Crazier things. Maybe we buy a Game Shark and hack it in. Some people on here have like nearly got platinum already.
Two people in the world have it at the moment.
Yeah, well, it's only been out a week, so
we're gonna Bethesda review copies, I guess. Yeah, true.
Yeah, exactly. So never know. Seems like a grind, but never know what could happen. All right. Well, that is it for hashtag Race to 100. I had to think about that, by the way. Hashtag Race to 100 for July. Of course, Buddy will be back again in a month's time to go over what games he's been playing and how the trophies are going for all the things. And if you've got any games you think he should play and he should platinum, you can tweet them at him. Just tweet at BuddyWatson12 and be like, here's this game. It's real easy. It's called Dark Souls 2. You should get the you should get the platinum.
It can be done in 3 days.
Exactly. See you in a month, buddy. Bye.
See ya.
Thank you for joining us this week on Platinum Explosion. You can follow me on Twitter at Vivladil, VIVALADIL. You can follow Ash on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEY, and of course you can follow Buddy Watson on Twitter at Buddy Watson 12 WATSON. As well, of course, you can find Buddy on Dash Culture Podcast every fortnight and over at dashgamer.com, where you can also check out that review discussion we mentioned for Bloodstained over there as well. You can follow this show on Twitter at Plat Podcast, of course, and you can help out the show by giving us a review on either Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, or alternatively, if you like the episode, just tweet us out a review of your episode. We'll retweet it, give you a thanks, give you a big thumbs up, say thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for doing that. Enjoyed that. Thank you very much. Join our Discord, chat to us about games, ask for trophy tips, send in trophy tips yourself, questions for the show, topics for the show. ExplosionNetwork.com/Discord. And this is a product of the Explosion Network, which you can find many more shows, articles, news, reviews, and stuff at ExplosionNetwork.com, including that Wolfenstein review when that comes up later in the week. And then you can follow Explosion Network on Twitter at ExplosionPod as well. Until next week, remember that every trophy counts. Catch up on the latest TV, online media, and movie news, from the biggest comic book films to the biggest YouTube crazes to our local cinema scene, and then hear what we've been watching before asking the age-old question, what do you want to watch? Available on all podcast services every second Friday. Just search your podcast app for What Do You Want to Watch and subscribe for free now.